Yeah, my name's Nick Clarke. I am the senior partner, which means that I am involved in the management of the firm. I sit on our executive board and we run the firm on a day-to-day basis. And I am also the head of the dispute resolution team. I joined Aaron's on the 1st of August 1999. I remember it well because it was the day that the LPC results were published, and I sat in reception waiting for my induction. And in those days they used to publish the results in the Times, so I actually checked that I'd passed and therefore could start my training contract. It could have been the shortest training contract ever. But yeah, I started as a trainee solicitor. And I did that for 2 years and then qualified and have stayed here ever since. I knew what I didn't want to do. Most of my sort of contemporaries at university went off to work in London, and from speaking to people that I knew that were working in London firms, I was quite clear I didn't want that lifestyle. So being from Chester, I decided I wanted to come back to the Northwest. My family was here, my friends were here. So coming back to the Northwest was a fairly easy decision. I applied to a number of firms, one of which was Aaron's. In those days there was no internet, so finding out things about places that you didn't have any connection with was actually fairly difficult. So I talked to one of my sort of parents' friends who was a barrister in Chester, and he gave me some information on a variety of the firms that were here, one of which was Aaron's. And what he told me was about some of the niche specialisms that Aaron's had, and that sounded interesting to me. It sounded like good quality work, it sounded like the kind of stuff I would like to do. And so I applied to Aaron's, among others. Aaron's were actually the first to respond. And I was really impressed with Simon Edwards, who was my predecessor as senior partner, and did it for 23 years. My interview was with Simon, and he was just a very knowledgeable person, and that impressed me. So when the offer arrived, I was very happy to accept. I think that the firm now provides a much more structured approach to career progression. It always did enable you to progress, and it's one of the reasons I've stayed here as long as I have, but it was much less structured than it was than it is now. I also think that the social side of the firm is more highly developed now, particularly for the younger members of staff than it was then. There was plenty of socialising in those days, but it wasn't really part of the firm's life. It kind of existed outside it, whereas now there's a really active social committee, and it's actively encouraged and indeed funded by the firm. And I think that's a real step forward too. I think it's vital. We operate in a market where there is a huge amount of competition for talent, and like everyone else, we want the most talented people to come and work here, and we want them to stay here. We have to be able to provide points of distinction as compared to our competitors, who are often larger firms in larger legal centres, and in some cases that will offer higher salaries. So what we have to be able to offer people is something different. And what that is the ability to progress your career at a faster rate here than would occur in other places. You can have genuine responsibility for running client files from a very, very early stage. And I think that creates better lawyers in the long run, and hopefully people are able to have long careers here, as I've done. I would say that it is stimulating. The work is sometimes challenging, but in a good way. You know, it really is interesting work, good work. I would say that it's a supportive place. we genuinely want people to succeed and to progress, and the structures are set up to enable that to happen. And finally, I would say it's a sociable place. It's genuinely fun. The reality of a legal career is that some days it's going to be tough, but what makes the difference on those occasions is that you're working in a place you like with people you like, and that's ultimately the reason why I've been here as long as I have.